Today, I want to talk about why, after more than a decade on 64 audio custom in-ears, I switched to Bellows audio and why that decision surprised me more than I expected. Today is the day that I am going to go get new in-ears made. Well, I'm getting the impressions for the in-ears. I'm really excited. Like most musicians, I started using in-ears with universal fit, right? Universal fit monitors that have like foam tips or silicone tips. You squeeze them, you shove them in, and you kind of hope for the best. They work, but once you've experienced custom molded in-ears, it's hard to go back. And about 10 or 11 years ago, I bought my first set from a company called 1964 Audio. Yes, they used to be called 1964 Audio. They eventually became 64 Audio. Branding. And making the choice to get these guys, I went with the V6 model. I was so stressed out. I wanted to get the right ones. I couldn't, I paid for them with my own money. I couldn't afford a ton. And as soon as I bought these, they sounded great, they felt great, but they released the V6 stage model while these were getting made. I even contacted the company and was like, hey, can I upgrade to that newer model that just came out? I just ordered mine. They were like, no, sorry. So right away, that permanence, that buyer's remorse is something that I experienced right away with in-ear monitors. But like I said, I went with their V6 model, 6 drivers per side, fully custom molded down to the tip here. They were not cheap, but compared to some of the other brands at the time, they felt somewhat attainable. I had saved up my pennies, and I remember I think it was the Christmas of the birthday, I got a card for my wife and I opened it up and I only had a few more $100 to save before I could get these. And she said, buy the in-ears on a little card. She just said, use whatever, whatever's left, let's just pay it off and let's get those things for you. I know you want them. And I'm not gonna lie, these guys, day one, and even still today, they sound great. They have served me faithfully. If I could just untangle this cable. These guys have served me faithfully for over a decade, but here's the honest part. Like I said, I'm the king of buyer's remorse. Whether it's a car or a guitar pick, I overthink purchases. If there's a way to overthink it when it comes to buying something, I'm going to find that way. And there's almost nothing more permanent that you can buy than custom in-ear monitors. You can't return them easily. You can't resell them. They are literally shaped to your body. So once you commit, you're in. And when I got these in-ears, right away, I sent them back. Probably, this is not a joke, please don't make fun, 6 or 7 times for refits. I even got my molds done by a different audioologist finally and sent that in a few times for refits because I wanted them to be perfect. And to their credit, the customer service with 64 Audio was amazing. They were so responsive. They covered my shipping. They were really professional. And to be honest, I should have just gone with the original fit they sent me, but I had such a hard time making that commitment because these ears, like I said, it's such a permanent choice, but these ears have served me so well for over 10 years. But any piece of tech that's 10 years old will need maintenance. And I started realizing that I was sending these in for repair for about, I don't know, 100, 150 bucks a pop every time.
Help me, I'm poor.
At what point am I just like, hey, it's been 10 or 12 years, it's time to buy a new set of in-ears. I'd lived in the 64 audio world for a long time, and I knew what that experience was like, both like the good and the frustrating parts. And I was playing worship at my church one night for like a long worship night, and I couldn't find a guitar player. I hired this incredible guitar player that a friend of mine was like, hey, you should bring this guy in. I'm unavailable, but he's great. And I just started talking to him about his gear, and he casually mentioned, he goes, oh yeah, well, I use Bellows audio. And I'm like, I've heard so much about these. Why did you go with them? And so not only that, he bought a second pair. He said, I have 2 pairs of Bellows. I love them so much. And that got my attention. And he told me, he goes, hey, listen, also they gave me an artist discount. And I was like, well, hey, I'm an artist. Even though like he's got way more clout than me online, he said, dude, it never hurts to ask. Reach out and see if they'll help you out. So to be fully honest, to give full, like all the disclosure in the world, I received an artist discount from Bellows. Did they give me these for free? No. I reached out to them and they just gave me a bit of a discount. And they said, listen, just if you want to make a couple videos, that's fine, but they have no idea what I'm saying in this video. They didn't ask me to praise them. They didn't even ask me to review the in-ears. They just said, hey, if you want to make a couple videos, that's great. They said, just if you want to make some content, that's fine. And that really mattered to me. I could tell that they were truly taking care of smaller artists.
Help me!
But before I actually get to the in-ears, I know you guys want me to open these so bad, don't you? Right? Yeah, I'm gonna get there, okay? Just relax. Before I even open this little can of in-ears here, you can't get molds made without first seeing an audiologist. And one of the best pieces of customer service that Bellows Audio did was say, hey, you're in New York City, go to this audiologist. She's the best. So today is a special day for me. I'm going to get molds made for a new set of in-ears. I'm taking you with me. If you don't know what that means, well, I'm gonna explain it to you. She was incredible. I've seen 3 audiologists for this specific need, getting molds made to create custom in-ears. She is the best by far. Go see her. She was incredible. She didn't rush. She asked all the right questions. She listened. She understood what it means to sing, to speak, and to move on stage. As a matter of fact, she uses the paste inside of your ear that forms a mold. And I said, do you use a bite block? Because when you're singing, you're opening your mouth. When you're talking and you're doing this, your inner ear canal is moving around with your jaw and your mouth and all that stuff. And when you get molds made, a lot of times they'll put a bite block in your mouth that just basically holds your mouth open as if you were singing. She didn't do that, right? So instead of using a bite block, she said, we don't use bite blocks. They are a scam. They're worthless. I said, really? Well, what do you want me to do? She said, I want you to make the mouth shape you would make if you were belting a really loud note. And I was just like,
you're going to simulate singing. So take a line and just keep simulating that line. So if someone asked me to do that, I would look like this.
Yeah.
Because that's when I'm biggest at yes.
Just over and over?
Over and over. While this dries, and I'm going to put the silicone mixture in the other ear.
As my inner ear canal was open, moving and shifting, the putty was kind of forming to like a general area that would work for however my ear canal was shaped. This funny thing also happened that I loved. We were sitting there talking, and just like any other doctor, she was like, oh, do you smoke? Do you drink? What do you do for work? Do you have any pains here or there? Are you taking any medications? Because she was about to look in my ear, and she wanted to basically diagnose, is there anything she needed to know before creating my molds that could make the experience better? And I said, oh, well, I'm a worship pastor at a church, when she asked what I did. And she said, oh, isn't that great? I love it when people bring God in here. And I said, well, Melissa, I mean, technically he's omnipresent, so he's always in here. And she looked at me and she goes, yes, she is. And I laughed so hard. I was like, that's incredible. You're the best. She was awesome. But when I was getting my molds done and I was opening and closing my mouth, that one decision changed the outcome. See, when the impressions were done, she included in the price, she handled shipping the molds directly to Bellows Audio. I didn't have to do that. There was no extra steps, no confusion. And a few weeks later, my in-ears arrived. Are we opening them now? Are we, right? Listen, I wouldn't go anywhere else to get molds made. Melissa was incredible. Here's where Bellows Audio does something different when it comes to their in-ear design. These are my X4 in-ears. There's a few different models that Bellows Audio makes. These are the X4s. When I got these, by the way, and I think I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. I might get into this, but like, because of the way they design these in-ears, they are made so much faster than every other company, and repairs are done so much faster than any other company. But are you already noticing there's something different between these two in-ears? Oh, I still just love putting these in because of how good they fit. Here's what Bellows does different between them and traditional companies like 64 Audio, JH Audio, for Audio. See, these other companies, they use a hard acrylic ear canal portion of the in-ear that goes into your ear. Now that gives you incredible isolation. Bellows Audio is not going to give you as much isolation as 64 audio or other companies that have that hard acrylic tip. That being said, I've used these for a while now. I've never had a problem with outside noise creeping in and hurting my mix. But since these hard acrylic tips exist on other in-ear models, when your ear canal moves, this isn't moving at all. As a matter of fact, you're going to feel pressure release and close as you sing and belt with in-ears like this. But what do you notice about Bellows audio? Bellows uses a flexible tip system at the end of their custom mold. It looks like a universal fit headphone, just like ones that you would just get off of Amazon that aren't custom made or anything like that. And when I first saw this company, I said, well, that's crazy. They don't even have a custom tip here at the end. But you can see, yes, they do. The tip is customized right until this silicon tip. I don't know what it is. Whatever. What this means is it is going to be way more consistent than these hard acrylic tips, because as my mouth moves open and closed, I am not noticing pressure release to let audio in and then close up to keep audio out. Whereas when I wear, actually, I can just put on my other ear here. When I open and close my 64 audio customs, I feel air coming in, noise coming in, things like that as I open and close my mouth. Now, that may just be a me thing, but guess what? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. This was a drawback when I was first considering Bellows audio. I was like, I don't like that. I wish these were fully custom. But now that I've used them for a while, I'm like, no. This makes so much sense. I'm not experiencing that pressure release and closing as I'm singing and as I'm talking into my microphone. It's a consistent fit throughout my services and sets. They block almost all the noise out. Do in-ears. Do in-ears like this have more isolation? Yes. When you look at it scientifically or technically, yes, these are gonna have more isolation. But these guys are still extremely isolated. They sound incredible. They're still fully custom, but you have a more consistent fit because of that tip at the end. These sound incredible. Incredible. Best sound I've had in months. Best sound in months. If someone is a touring musician, like top 1%, like Metallica, U2, Bruno Mars, when you've got fans screaming tens of thousands, yeah, this would make sense. You also have people that are managing all your gear for you. So repairs and things like that happen way quick. You could probably even get a representative out to your show to get a better fit of your ears. Yeah, these make a ton of sense. And you can also afford the higher prices here. But for worship leaders, for worship teams, for someone that's looking for quite a few steps above just universal fit in-ears, but you're in a church setting with a few thousand people, a few hundred people, a few dozen people singing, these are going to be perfect. You're going to pull these out right away and try to put them on and see how they fit. And like I said, there were no issues. As soon as I put these on, I loved them. No fatigue. The sound, like sonically, it felt so open compared to my 64 audio model. Now, remember, these have 6 drivers per side in them. These guys have 4. But still, it felt like with my 64 audio, I had like a stream, like a narrow straight line stream of audio coming at me when I was playing live. But with my Bellows audio ears, it feels like full stage sound. It was like wide, left to right, like a live sound. I stopped like pulling out one ear during worship sets. I keep them on all the time because they're extremely comfortable. The fit's incredible. And I just love the sound that I'm able to create with my in-ear mix in these. It just feels so much wider. It's like a miracle. And then comfort matters more than people like to admit on these things. I put them on and I was like, am I going to be able to wear these, for multiple hour worship sets, things like that? And I got to say right away, yeah, they are so comfortable. Through rehearsal, through worship sets. I mean, they're the most comfortable in-ears I have ever worn, and I've worn a lot. I could wear them all day without thinking about them, and that's what you want. And then you'll also notice that another massive win with these guys is turnaround time and repairability. So with these two in-ears, every other company and Bellows audio, you're going to notice a difference. Almost one solid piece of hard material here makes up your 64 audio, your fur, your JH audio in-ears. Whereas you can clearly see on the Bellows audio that there's a faceplate with 3 screws. When you order these in-ears, you don't get tons of choices. There's a few colors, there's only a few models, and there's the logo on the side, and it's kind of like bare bones, which makes ordering super easy. Not a ton of decisions that you think you're going to make the wrong one on. And then when you get your in-ears, you're like, oh my gosh, this looks kind of cheap, because you can see where this faceplate can just remove. But that is for repairability. When you send these in, it's only a couple of weeks to get them fixed if you have an issue, because they just remove that faceplate. They don't have to remake the whole thing. They just remove that faceplate, fix it, screw it right back on. So you're not having like a few week turnaround with your gear when you need it every single week like me. So Bellows uses like this modular design, 3 screws, easy access. So if you're like a touring band that goes out 6 weeks at a time and then has a few weeks off, you've got plenty of time for repairs. But someone like me that uses these every single week, sometimes multiple times, that quick repair turnaround is essential. Now, while I'm talking about how these are set up, if you want to see the rest of my monitoring setup, interfaces, packs, cables, basically everything I use, I keep a full gear list updated, including all my camera gear that I'm using right now at nycworshipleader.com/gear. It's a living gear list. And what that means is, actually, this video is brought to you by my gear list. It's a living gear list, meaning anytime I find something that makes my work easier, I add it to that list. So if you go to nycworshipleader.com/gear and you say, hey, give me that list, anytime I make a change to it, it makes a change for you on your list so that you have the most up-to-date version of what I am using to create content, to lead worship, to hear really well on stage. And if there's something that I stop using because I realize, hey, this stinks and it doesn't work well, I remove it from the list. Stop trying to make like decisions where you have to learn everything on your own about what gear is going to work for you and your ministry. Just download my gear list. Just learn from all the mistakes I have made and check out a list of gear that's going to make your ministry thrive and your life be a little bit easier. But speaking of gear lists and things like that, we got to talk like pricing and stuff, right? So one of the things I respect most about Bellows Audio is how intentionally small their lineup is. I kind of hit on this earlier, but they don't make 15 different models. I'm pretty experienced in this world, but even if I go to 64 Audio or Fur Audio and look at what they have available, it is confusing. All the different face plates and all the different like filters you can put on the ears and stuff. Endless options, and it immediately makes me think I'm going to make the wrong choice and second guess myself for like weeks. So with Bellows, there are 3 models in the X series, and each one has a very clear purpose. I just want to go through them quickly, even though you can read these on your own, but like, here's my take. There's the X2, it's entry point, 2 drivers per side, very mid forward, clear, very vocal focused. I personally think these are great if you're trying to outfit an entire team, like an entire worship team, because they're low cost. They're going to get the job done. They're going to feel great and sound great, but they're not going to have all the bells and whistles. There's the X3. Now, this adds a dedicated low end driver. It's where things start to feel like fuller if you have like, huge band with drums, guitars, tracks, keys, things like that. It's probably a sweet spot for a lot of worship teams, the perfect in between if you can spend just a little bit more. But the X4, like I said, is the flagship, and that's what I chose. More detail when it comes to sound, more openness. Like I said, wide sense of space. It's still blowing my mind. For me, that mattered. Now, none of these models feel like a compromise. They feel like intentional choices. It's not like they're going, oh, hey, these are great, but we have these as well. Every single one of these headphones, these in-ears, it feels like they are making intentional choices that help specific people. And because the lineup is so focused, I never felt overwhelmed or stuck wondering if I'd made the wrong decision. And here's the part that matters the most to me. You're not just buying sound. You're buying a decision like you kind of have to live with week in and week out. And that's where most people get stuck. They buy something incredible on paper and then they realize it doesn't fit. Get it? Because of the whatever. They find out it doesn't fit their use case, or it's too much or too little, right? Their church, their team, it's like not good for them. Oh my gosh, but now we have a painful lesson because we're kind of stuck with these. So Bellows lowers the risk of a big miss, but they are still custom, high quality, great in-ears that are reasonably priced. So that makes them an excellent, I would say that these, if you're new to in-ears and you're looking for a first set, go with these. You're going to leave extremely happy with your purchase. Or if you're someone who is, like using really, really high-end audio in-ears, what other kind are there? I would also say if you're someone who's using high-end in-ears and you're like, man, I need a backup pair, but I just don't have the budget. Yes, you do. Bellows audio. Or if you're someone that needs quick turnaround times, if you need stuff that's able to get fixed quick, you're on tour a lot, you're playing a lot week to week, Bellows audio. Or honestly, if you just want high-end in-ears, these are also just a great choice. I'm not trying to sell them as this lower-end brand. These are high-end and they're incredible and they sound awesome. If you want help making the decision on in-ears once instead of 5 times, I just wanted to quickly mention, this is literally what I do. I've been a worship pastor for 20 years in New York City. I've dealt with every situation you can imagine. I help worship leaders in churches figure out not just how to lead with clarity, confidence, how to lead out of health and instead of burnout, but I also help churches figure out monitoring, gear, systems without wasting your money, right? So if you want to book just a free call with me to kind of discuss how these can benefit your life or any other gear can benefit your life, nycworshipleader.com/call, right? You can sign up for a free call with me, just a little discovery call to help you get sorted, and then we can take it from there. And I'm happy to help you think through your next purchase. So if you're looking for your first set of in-ears, these are a great place to start. Or maybe you're a seasoned musician who's had tons of pairs of in-ears. You haven't been able to find that perfect fit, no pun intended. Again, never have I been more happier than with Bellows audio. These could easily become a seasoned musician's daily driver. They have become mine. But I am going to keep testing these. Christmas services are coming right around the corner. Long days, long sets. We're going to be on stage the entire service 3 times in a row this Christmas season. I'm going to have these in the whole time. So that time will tell. But so far, I got to be honest, I have 0 regrets. And that might be the highest compliment I can give Bellows audio. But listen, leading worship, leading your team, being healthy, using good gear, it's not just all about in-ears. You should check out this video before you go. You're going to like it.